Welcome to Crow on a Perch and the Accidental Cowboy in the ever-growing void that will inevitably cloak us in eternal dread, Phase 1. I'm Liam, and this is Eric.
You said that so slow and robotic.
Hi, welcome to Crow on a Perch and the Accidental Cowboy in the ever-growing void that will inevitably cloak us in eternal dread, Phase 1. I'm Liam, this is Eric, let's go.
Hi, welcome to Phase 1. I'm Liam, and this is Eric. I wanted to try it. I can't do it like
Give
he
me
does.
the glasses. If I'm Eric, I need the glasses.
True. Well, that's for later.
That's for later? Okay.
That sounded really ominous. Anyways, today we're kind of slowing down from our usual, I don't know if you want to call it educational.
Welcome to the Metasode.
We didn't agree with this title. You just threw it in, the Metasode.
I think it works well. I like it.
We could have our own brand of pop, the Metasoda. With our faces on the front pointing. Drink it.
One of us pointing up, one of us pointing down. Just like the famous, I don't know the name of it, the Plato and Aristotle painting.
I like it.
I don't remember the name.
He brings philosophy back around.
But see, here is the interesting title of the episode. We don't know anything.
We don't know anything.
We know some things,
Sort of.
but we don't know things very well. So why should you listen to us talking about things when we don't know a lot about them?
Our word is not law, obviously. And we have said before on episodes that what we say, don't take it as this is the absolute answer and don't yell at us when it doesn't work. But, like what we say comes from certain experiences we've had, right? And these are ways that we're able to share it with you in order to possibly help you down your road or even just give you insight on things. But like, hey, what gives us the right to tell you to start making mistakes? Fail. You should fail.
I mean, you said that.
That's what I mean.
Got him. Yeah.
You should fail, but the thing is, why should you listen to me, right? Or Liam?
Sure.
You shouldn't listen to Liam at all. You should be listening to me only.
You should be listening to me exclusively and not Eric, because Eric does not formulate his thoughts in a formal manner.
You see, don't listen to Liam, because what does he know? Nothing. Drinks his water.
Just drink
menacingly.
water, Liam.
Me too. But this is what we want this episode to be about. I thought this would be a little more chill. And not that our episodes aren't chill, but just kind of relax, talk about what we've been through, where we're going, our goals, blah, blah, blah. And then, kind of take what we've talked about in all of our episodes and kind of bring them back around in our own way, right? Mm-hmm. I guess.
Sure. So I guess maybe I'll start with me, because I think my life is interesting. At least I like to think so. To those of you who have not watched the previous episodes very closely, first of all, welcome. Second of all, I'm currently almost finished my undergraduate in philosophy. And I'm at a very sort of crossroady place with the degree, because I find the readings incredibly interesting. But the way that the schooling system works, it sometimes feels like it's not about learning what you want to learn and what you really want to go deep into, but it's about learning what other people want you to be taught, in a sense, and that there's a place for both of them, I think. But
this
again,
is a good start, I think.
Sure, let's start here.
It's just because, what's nice about this episode is it kind of gives a way for us to talk about many things, because this is what Liam and we talked about this in the first episode, I believe, is how we started this podcast. We were friends, we weren't very close, and then we just started going to Starbucks. As you can see, Liam's a Starbucks fanatic.
I went for the first time because you asked me to this morning with my venti iced water.
Liam actually asked me, and he ordered 3 macchiatos and egg bites and his venti iced water.
All right, All's Cherry, cancel Eric.
All's Cherry, do your thing.
Do your thing.
I suddenly disappear from the episode. You're talking to yourself.
Cancel Eric.
I'm cancelable. But yeah, so Liam and I, we'd get Starbucks. We'd grab coffee and we would kind of just chat, and we'd open up about what we've been dealing with, and kind of organize our own thoughts with each other through our problems. And we've had a lot of interesting conversations from it, and that's kind of what stemmed this podcast. But I like that you're starting with your education, because I know you like your education and I know you like the fields you're studying, but you've had some difficulties, you've had some roadblocks, and if you want to open up about it and explain,
yeah,
go ahead.
So
I'm going to stop talking now. Hashtag cancel Eric.
So I think part of my fear, well, it's not even really fear. I dislike that sometimes assignments feel very automated, lifeless in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
I would say philosophy as a department, at least from where I am studying, is a lot more about share your ideas, and I'm going to give you creative freedom on this topic to tie it to what you'd like.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's still standards being placed by people who think they're being subjective in what people need to know. But it's actually a very objective thing with
It's a big one. It is a
what's the
big word. I couldn't tell you. This is a big topic because I understand what you're trying to say. It's in a topic that can be influenced by the professor or possibly how the assignments are given when they tell you that it's kind of, there's leeway for you to do what you want.
Sure.
And I want to say I understand that because of art. Like, I only really got a really good art education in my last 2 years I went for school because they almost truly gave me leeway in things.
And I'm sort of finding that, yeah, especially in this fourth year now, I'm giving myself a lot more leeway on, like, if I don't do this well on this assignment, that's okay.
Yeah.
If I bomb this assignment because I'm really not interested in the topic of it, I do just a good enough essay that'll give me a decent mark, I can just move on from that. For me, a lot of my life has been pushing myself towards things that I don't really feel super passionate about, but it's the people around me that feel the excitement that I had the capability to do it. That is something that has been I've been really reflecting on recently.
Mm-hmm.
I was considered academically gifted back in the early days of education, where it basically considered me in the 99th to 100th percentile of intelligence of my peers. But I actually very recently did a school presentation on this, which I was actually pretty personal about. That but does that seriously mean that I have more of a place in the world than the rest of my peers?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, it feels ridiculous because, dude, back then I was depressed, unconfident, unsure of what I actually wanted to do. I was shaky. I didn't talk to a lot of people. Why did I have more of a place just because I was assigned a better number on a scale that doesn't really consider the right questions when it comes to intelligence?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'd like to hear your thoughts on that.
I would like to do a quick disclaimer. This podcast, we even discussed this. I think we were talking to somebody. They asked what the podcast was about. This podcast is about being. When we had our All-Star Anthology dinner party.
That was awesome.
The anthology's out by now. And we had a dinner party. It was phenomenal.
Check it out.
We had some people asking about what the podcast is about. And the first thing I said was it's about being human. More so, you are you, and that's awesome. And I say that because we want you to remember that, despite social media appearance and people think or say we're crazy successful doing whatever, right? It's like we want you to remember that we're suffering and we're having a hard time just like everyone else. And that's okay because it's hard.
I had a really rough day yesterday because
You did.
I got really caught up with everything that I need to do for the week. And by the end of it, like I have a Monday to Thursday school schedule. And at the end of the Thursday, I was just like, I was fully done because it's a lot to be just on campus for that long.
Yep.
Sometimes. And I guess for me, and it doesn't have to exactly exclude people who like to be on campus and like to learn in that environment. But so we're getting back to the theme of the meta episode. One of the points of sharing our perspective is that I think we believe that our perspectives are not very common out there, and that it's a perspective that is helpful to hear to some people who are experiencing some similar struggles.
Yeah. And I bring this up in particular just because you said, "Oh, I was depressed and I was shaky and blah blah blah." And this isn't the pity episode. This is the we are doing well now, and we're proud of it, and we want you to remember that it wasn't as easy as a freaking flick of a switch. Like the world is difficult, but you got to remember that it'll be all right as long as you've got the persistence. So when you say like, what's your thoughts on what you said? I want to have a similar idea here that it's cool because what's interesting is you said like you were known as the person who's going to excel and blah, 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 right? And
I was literally told that the world was, the sky's the limit for me and that I could literally do anything that I set my mind to. And that sort of implied that since I could do it, I was a chosen one.
Yeah.
And that like everybody else wasn't capable of it and they were just not going to do anything relevant with their lives, which I horrifically disagree with because people who aren't very book smart are smart in so many other different fashions.
Oh my God, of course. That's the coolest part about people. And I'll say, I am not book smart.
No.
I'm not. And I will say that with confidence because most of school, I didn't do a good job. I did enough to pass. I was just talking about this to someone, I think yesterday, about how every day I went to school and I'm like, I'm almost there. I'm almost there. Like, I'm almost done graduating. Like, just graduate, just get it over with, and then I can do what I want to do. Because I also was talking to someone yesterday about how, like, I was born, and I swear there was a paintbrush in my hand. I was born, and I was making art. I always have made art. I've always been an artist, blah, blah, blah. That's always what I was told I would do. They're always, yep, you're an artist. You're going to do great. Now, when it came to a career, everyone always kind of went, oh yeah, Eric's an artist. Oh, what's he going to do, right? And when I remember, actually, this is a big epiphany I had too, was I make comic books now. I make a lot now, but I made comic books, started making them a couple years ago, and I found all my old comic books and my old sketchbooks, and I forgot I even made them. And I was like, shoot, I've been making comics since I was a kid.
Yeah.
And then I had a flashback. I remember saying, I want to make comics, or at least I want to be an illustrator. And I remember being told that is not a realm of art you will make money in. And they said, just don't. So I ended up veering into graphics design, which I am not ashamed of either, that I went away from what I wanted to do because I have so many new skills now from doing that and experimenting. That's a whole other topic. But either way, like I was told, Eric, you are going to be such a good artist. You're going to do so many great things. What are you going to do? I don't know. Good luck. And then I'd go to school and I would just do what I had to do. People, Eric, why aren't you taking math in grade 12? You need that skill. And I'm like, I don't care. I just want to finish school and make art. That's it. And it was hard because I was for most of high school and even a little after, I was incredibly depressed. I was incredibly bored, incredibly tired of the same friggin' routine that I was being shoved down my throat that I had to do. I have to do this. I have to do that. And that was my biggest problem, which is why I'm all about original works and thinking of a dream and doing it, because I was so tired of being told you must do this. And I'm like, why must I do anything?
Yeah.
Why are you the one to tell me what to do? Because I'm just sick of it. And even with art, I had such a hard time developing my own creative process and style because it was art is this. You must do this. People actually, and I will brag about this, people tell me I've got good color theory for my work, or my perspective is getting much better. I'm not amazing at it. I don't use the guidelines that I should. I don't care. But that's a whole other topic. But either way, it was a lot of you must do this. And I'm like, I'm tired of this sentence of that I have to do something.
Well, and then I'll develop myself further from that.
Sure.
Because you came from you must do this. I came from you could do this and this and this, and you could do anything. And for me, I was mostly driven by people that say like, wow, you would make such a good blank. And I'm like, yeah, I would make a good blank. And then I would try to I would only like half immerse myself in that identity. And then somebody else will say, oh, you would be such a good this. And then I would only half immerse myself in that. Oh, you'd be good at this. And then half immerse, half immerse, half immerse. And then I went through so many different phases. And quite frankly, like I was book smart enough to do well in everything that I got put towards. So I was like, you'd be a good writer. Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. You'd be really good as an accountant because I got a 90 in my accounting class. Well, actually, probably not that high, but whatever. You'd be really
shame
good.
on you.
Yeah.
You should be getting 90, 95. Anyway.
That is also part of it. I
That's
never
very
felt
interesting.
good enough.
Yeah.
I never felt that I was good enough because there was always a standard that I tried to break. And that's why I always only put a half effort towards it, because I would be afraid. I'd say, what's the point when there's somebody else who's better than me? And like how Eric's sort of saying, like, I've always been an artist. I've never really known who I've been or who I am and what I want to do until very recently.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to also share that perspective, because even mentally, I feel like there's a lot of people that could just be like, oh yeah, I can tell that, I also held a paintbrush when I was 2, but it's like, well, you held a paintbrush when you were 2 because your mom put it in your hand and then took it back out after she took a picture.
Yeah.
And then you didn't really do art again, but that you're trying to just identify with somebody
Yeah.
to have an idea of, to try to just have, it's not exactly a false, but a fabricated idea of self. And I would say that something that comes out of both of our conversations is cultivating a sense of self. And this is, again, it lends back to the theme of the meta episode, because what we're not trying to say, like, you should do this and you should do that, because that's sort of the opposite to cultivating a self in especially art.
What's so interesting about us in relation to each other is that you had this confused identity of, I can do all these things, but which one should I be doing?
Yep.
And me, it was, I do this one thing, but I need to make money, or I need to do this. And I'm like, I can't do it with what I like. Like, I was always, I'm an artist and I like doing this. But then everyone told me, you cannot make a career out of that. And I'm like, I guess you're right. So that was my big problem. But then I almost went to university for graphics design.
Yeah.
I was good at it. But I had this gut feeling, like this rock in my stomach. I'm like, I don't want to. Oh my God, I almost went to university, Liam. Isn't that weird to think about, me going to university?
That, I can't imagine it.
I couldn't either. I was going to apply and I went, I can't. I just can't. So I went to a different post-secondary for 2 years out of a high school. It was sort of like a college program through a high school. And I did those, and I did them, and I went in with a clean slate. I said, I don't know what kind of art I should be making. I don't know what I should. Well, again, with the should, or what I need. I don't know what I need to be doing, but I'm here now because I like art. I need to do something. And the first year was so brutal for me because you get, in the program I was in, you get thrown in different kinds of mediums.
Yep.
And in all of them, I was like, I hate this. I had to do sculpture, and I'm like, I hate this. And I had to do ceramics. I'm like, I hate this. I just don't want to make art here, but I have to. And then when we got to illustration, I'm like, great, I have all this idea, but I don't know what to do now because I'm confused. And then the second year I said, you know what? I'm just over it. I've got the story I'm writing. I'm making a comic. And I did. And then I went, hey, I did what I want because I got so frustrated with it, and it worked.
Yeah.
And no one told me I couldn't because it was a project. And then when I came out of school, I said, I'm going to make more comics. And I remember people telling me, and I think I talked about this on the podcast already, people were telling me, well, what are you going to do aside from that? And I'm like, what do you mean? And they're like, well, what are you going to do once you're done making comics? I'm like, make more? What do you...
Yeah.
This is what I want to do. And I realized, why do I need to listen as to what you guys tell me to do when, if that's what I want to do, the end? And of course it gets complex. Like, okay, well, are you going to make a career out of that? Are you going to make money from it? But I've realized I don't want to worry about that.
Yeah. So I think the thing is especially when it comes to being an artist, it's a concern that I'm sort of more seriously considering now, that I genuinely believe in what I do and the projects that I'm working on, which are yet to come, because it's taken a lot of preparation, and you know what I'm talking about.
Of course.
It's taking a lot out of me, especially while I'm still trying to finish school. It's something that you have to ask yourself the question, because honestly, there might be some people who think they want to be an artist, but they might actually be more suited for something that is not an artist. And I think one of the things about working in any sort of art that isn't institutionalized and trying to make your own path in the world is that you have to be willing to give up some comforts in order to do so.
And this is where the meta episode's going to tie into things we talked about, because this is obvious, right? Like, you could ask us, well, okay, Liam, you know what you're interested in, you're pursuing it. And Eric, you know you're an artist and you're pursuing it. So what do I do, right? Like, you get confused. And it's like, well, we've talked about it. You've got to be true to yourself. And you've got to remember that to get out of your comfort zone just a bit in order to possibly see what's out there. But that doesn't mean you need to be completely uncomfortable. And we talked about this before. Like, we're not big partiers, right?
Oh,
so
no,
why
not at all.
Should we be partying every weekend because it's an experience? No. Now, is there any harm in being invited to a small house party and you've never been before and you're like, you know what? I'm willing to try it. And then you realize you don't like it. You could do either. You don't even have to do that. But there's no harm in trying something in order to learn whether you like it or not. And that's where things, if you think you're an artist, then, dabble a bit. Or if you realize you actually really like building houses, then great. You've learned now and you can do that. So
yeah.
Comfort zone and being true to yourself is a big one.
And I think this is my current theory of it, and I want to hear your thoughts on it.
Sure. It'll cost you $5 though. That's what I'm saying.
You already owe me money.
Yeah, that venti ice water. It's like what, like $12 I owe you? Shoot. Darn it. We don't got the budget for this episode.
I've forgotten.
You lost it?
No, I lost it.
Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, we could take a quick break anyway, probably shortly.
Yeah, we could take a quick break, but I think something that you need to really think about is if you are going to push yourself towards something that, and I agree that you should put yourself out there and do whatever, but when you're in the face of something that is uncomfortable, like for example, I mean, I don't like when we have technical issues on the podcast, but I deal with them anyways. And I feel like after the break, why don't we talk about dealing with what is difficult?
I like that. How to deal with things that are difficult, because I know you and I have both have had to deal with that in the past and now.
Welcome back, everybody. And
I thought you were going to give the full Corona Perch.
Corona Perch next to Cowboy and the Growing Boy down 11 clicks and turn to phase 1.
Corona Perch and Corona Perch next to Corona Perch and phase Perch.
Phase Perch.
Perch 1.
The phase Perch. Anyways, so difficulty.
Yes, we are going to be moving on to that topic. Do you want to start it or me?
I started last time, so how about you start?
So what we were talking about in particular is, you should enjoy what you're doing, right? And comfort zone, right? Like being able to know if you should break away from your comfort zone or should you at all, right? And then you said, for example, that audio issues or even issues in general on this podcast, we've mentioned this before on an episode. Podcasts are a lot of work. A lot of stuff that we do is a lot of work, and we'll admit it because nothing's perfect, and this isn't perfect, but we love it. There are problems. I'm sure we'll have some today. You never know. Why do we deal with the problems? Why do we go through this annoying process of, oh my God, I don't like doing this?
Do you want the answer?
Tell me.
The answer is pride.
Oh my gosh, the pride. We're going to talk about the pride.
Yes, we are.
3 different phases of pride. I do remember what they are. Never mind. But
sure,
you're right, though, because in the end, the product we create and the work we put into it, we're at the end, we look back, we wipe the sweat off our brow, we clean off the rust and the oil and the grime and oil off our hands.
We clean the fingers.
We swig back a beer and we go, that's right, we did that. That was all us.
Essentially, that's what it comes down to. If you don't struggle at what you do and you're not proud of that struggle, then you can't ever be proud of the work that you come out with at the end of the tunnel.
And you can't grow and you can't learn either.
And this is a very real example when it comes to 3D printing that I feel like I brought this up before. But
a lot of this we have brought up before, but that's okay.
Whatever. People will just take models online and they'll they'll just take the model, they'll print them, they'll sell it as their own. And I guess the thing that you can get out of that is your skill as a printer and being able to maintain your printer well and to maintain a good quality print. You can get some amount of pride from that, but for me, that isn't enough. And I think that's what distinguishes great artists from hobby artists, right? And that's not to necessarily say a bad thing. Hobby artists can be excellent at art.
Of course.
But a dedicated artist will be so much more proud of the difficulties that they come across, and that they can take hours to work through. It can take hours to troubleshoot why my 3D printer bed is smoking, because that's a concern. But eventually, when I do figure it out, I get the replacement parts, whatever, then I get the printer going again. There's more issues that it's like, okay, maybe I'll take a break. I'll come back to it.
Yep.
More issues, but I'm willing to get through to the end point, because I know that what I can accomplish with this once I've struggled through, it's going to be amazing. And I would say pride also plays into self-belief, that you believe in your ability to overcome these challenges. Because I think this is something that it's a quote that resonates me with a lot, and it sort of drives my mindset going forward, that I have a difference as an individual, is that if nobody believes that change can happen, then change won't happen.
Okay.
If nobody believes that change is possible, then why would anybody try? So sometimes the first step, even towards things like the climate crisis, or like becoming a successful comic book author that is well ingrained in their community. Oh, wow, that's us.
Whoa.
If you believe that you can, that is one of the first steps.
That is a big one. That is a big one. I was offered an opportunity to teach recently, and that is something I wanted to start. Actually, I said that to myself this morning before I got you for your venti ice water. I'm going to run that through the ground. And here he comes. He's going to drink it and zoom in the camera.
I'm not thirsty anymore.
I don't want to do this podcast anymore.
I don't do this podcast anymore. Eric makes too much fun of me.
Anyways, the comedy relief.
Comedy relief.
I'm the C3PO of this episode.
Oh
my gosh.
Okay, we're getting off topic.
Anyways. My man tried an R2-D2 impression for C3PO.
All right. Okay, just for once, do your impression.
Is it going to go through the mic?
It will.
Wait. Oh, it's weird. I can hear it going off into my face. I can't do it properly. You got to meet me in person. You see me in public, yell at me to do the whistle impression. I got like 4 of them.
We're very sorry. We'll get back to you regularly.
You should hear my crosswalk one. I won't do it. Anyway, what I said to myself this morning, I was trying to figure out how I wanted to start a lesson, because I've never had the opportunity to like properly teach. And this isn't like school teaching. This is like a workshop thing, which is awesome anyway.
Yeah.
But I was like, how do I start this? I thought, what?
A workshop for the members of the community.
Yeah, for the community, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
But I was like, how do I start this? Because the workshop's basically most likely going to be about creating a graphic novel, because I've worked really hard in this industry of making books almost completely by myself, which is, to me, it doesn't seem like much work until I started writing it out. And I was like, wow, I've learned so much in the last how many years of doing this, and all the prep you have to do. And I was thinking, I'm like, but there's so many things I've had to, like loopholes I've had to jump through. Like I could have hired a graphics designer to do this part, or I could have hired someone to do this part, or I write and draw it. Not everyone does that. And I thought, teaching that when not everyone is going to be using all those skills like I do in one sitting is wacky. And that's the one thing I got to learn for this. But what I said this morning was, I said, the ability to take what you want to do and translate it into reality, the belief that you're able to do this, or the belief that you can even just start it at all and get to where you want to go, is where it all begins. Because it's so simple for me to have grown up in my life and go, I'm an artist, and someone says, well, how are you going to make any money? And then I go, okay, drop the pencil. No more art for me. I can't make any money. I might as well go work at Choppers for the rest of my life. That's the thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't do that. 1, because I'm stubborn. 2, because I knew that whatever happens, even if I worked at Burger King my whole life, I will be making art, and that is all I care about. I do not care about anything else. I just want to make art. And I believe that wholeheartedly with my entire being and soul. You can see it in my eye right now looking at you. I will be making art until I'm 6 feet under. I do not care. And that's what I plan on doing. And I believe it, and it's happening.
I guess I'm going to drop the supplies down the hole for you.
Yeah, well, someone's got to get it down there for me. You could use that. What's that? Those old houses have that little elevator thing. You can bring stuff down the floors.
I don't know what it's called.
Dummy waiter? I don't remember what they're called. There's something weird.
I think that's it.
I think that's the name. Yeah, you can get
That
that
episode.
for me. That episode. We can do
Tell
that.
us in the comments.
When I'm dead and in the grave, somebody got to make that for me. I'll give the coordinates to my grave.
Oh, okay.
And you can give me supplies. But either way, what I'm saying is if you want it bad enough, it's hard. This is one of the hardest things to ever do, in my opinion, is to get over that hurdle of I can do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's difficult, but I mean, hey, I think that's what our big scope is for this podcast is Liam and I, we've been through a lot. And we're not saying we've been through more or less than you, but we are people and we've been through stuff. And we came out the other side going, hey, we're still figuring it out. The journey's not over.
Yep.
But we've got belief that it'll work out. It's difficult, but it's a big one.
And important to that is understanding that belief is allowed to waver.
Of course.
And that you're allowed to not always be 100%. Yes, this is going to work all of the time.
Dude, you had a bad day yesterday. I had a bad day last week.
That is not how life works.
No.
Because belief can happen through bad days, and arguably bad days strengthen your belief.
I would like to tell a story.
Go for it.
Because I think this person deserves it. I'm not going to say their name, but you'll know who you are. I had a bad day a couple days ago, and I told you this story because it lit up my whole day. I had a bad day. I woke up, crazy bad headache. I was up late the night before, whatever. And I went to work, early shifts, and I'm working away. I work in retail, so it's not fun. It's whatever. Head hurts, doing all this stuff. I'm getting called this, that, and the other. I got to do this and blah, blah, blah. Just long day, busy day, tiring day. And I've got a lot of ambition. I have a lot of projects I work on, a lot of stuff. And when I'm going to work for an 8-hour shift and I feel gross and I've got just the day's annoying, some days it wavers. My belief wavers. I'm like, man, this is just brutal. Mm-hmm. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this right now. I want to go make art. And then I think about it and I'm like, but I don't want to make art right now. I just feel terrible. And that is allowed. Days, you can have bad days. And something happened. I was working away, and so I work in retail, so we had a merchandiser come in who's got to fill up the Coke. Yes, I'm going to talk about you. I hope you watch this episode, because it made my day. And he said, like, hey, man, how's it going? Haven't seen you in a while, so we're chatting. And he goes, yeah, you make art, right? So we're talking about the art I make. I'm like, oh, yeah, blah, blah, blah. He said, do you have a business card so I can see? I'm like, oh, of course. So this is nice. I got people to ask about my art often, which is good. I had a copy of the anthology with me. I was showing some of my coworkers, so I grabbed it and I said, yeah, check out the book. We made it with 8 different artists, 8 different stories. Go check it out. The anthology was a lot of fun to make. We did a big collaborative book with 8 artists, including myself. Go check them out. They're all wonderful artists. Anyways, showed him the book and he's like, wow, this looks really professional. He's like, how many books do you have? I'm like, I have 5 now. This would be my 5th. I'm working on a 6th. I said, I'm writing an album. That is what's happening next. He's like, that's just crazy. You've got all this stuff to do. And he's like, I hear people talk about how they want to do stuff like this, but they never follow through. And I'm like, and I've heard this song and dance before. I'm like, oh yeah, well, that's me. I say I want to do something and I do it. It's usually how it is. I'm ambitious. And he put his hand out and he shook my hand and he said, I need you to hear this right now. And I'm like, okay. And I'm going through the autonomous. Oh yeah, this is my art, blah, blah, blah. And he says, I know that you are working on your art and you probably just see the art and that's it. And he's like, and I know that you're working hard and some days may be hard. And he said, but I need you to know that right now with my own 2 eyes, me as the observer, I can see your success. Mm-hmm. Like, I can see how much work you put in. He's like, I can see your ambition. I can see your drive and you're inspiring me. And I can tell you probably inspire others. I need you to know that the success is there already. And I'm so excited to see the journey further of what you do. And he shook my hand couple times and he was like, I just thank you for showing me. And I was like stunned. I'm like, huh?
Eric was like,
dude, when I make art or I do all these big projects, and I'm not trying to brag, when I do them, it's just normal to me. Like, I'm just doing what I like to do. And that is not easy for some people to do, that stuff like this. Of course it's not. It's a lot of work. But I have so much fun with it and blah, blah, blah. It's normal to me. And when he shook my hand and I could see it in his eyes, he was like, you are just doing such amazing things and I need you to know that right now. It was like a gift from the gods. It was like the world said, hey, Eric, you're having a bad day? No. And then it slapped me in the face and I was like, whoa. So I said, man, it was great seeing you. I hope you enjoy my work. And he's like, yeah, have a good day. So we'll see each other soon. I almost teared up. I went in the back room and I was like, oh my God, I'm going to cry. Like my whole day has been flipped around. I got reminded that it's okay to have a bad day and to remember that even when I'm working so hard, people, they're seeing the result and they're realizing that it's a lot of work and they're enjoying what's been done. And like I said, this isn't me bragging. This is me telling you guys that it's a lot of work to believe in yourself and it's a lot of work to do whatever you want to do, but it makes a difference. It shifts the way the world goes. It pushes the timeline further. It makes a difference in your life and others. And if you're enjoying it, that is just a plus, man.
And again, I think it speaks to pride that there are points in time where you question your own pride, but then there are moments like that where people tell you that your work is interesting and valuable. And quite frankly, pride is linked to the human ego, that we sort of want to be praised for who we are, and we want to be known as somebody who is desirable and liked by other people and does something that is relevant and useful, and we want to be seen in a good light. And sometimes there are times where you don't really get seen in a good light because you have a bad day, you're working hard, but then there are people like that come across and then basically reaffirm you that it's like you're doing something that is valuable. Whether this is just a random person or if it's a friend or a family member or just whoever, having those reassuring moments no matter what you do and having them pay off sometimes, it again goes to this discussion of difficulty and pride of it makes the difficult days worth being difficult.
Yep. It's another difficulty you can go through. That's another, back to the topic we had for the second part of the episode here is, you're going to deal with these bad days. You're going to deal with problems, but to know, or at least to believe that once you've hurdled over them, it's all okay. It's wonderful, and it will be okay as long as you got to remember that you do have to put in the work, and it'll get there. Right? It's hard, but hey, it's worth it, isn't it?
Well, and I think we sort of forgot we were doing a bit of a meta episode here.
Well, yeah.
At the same time, this is really what we genuinely believe. It's very difficult at times, and I would say with my schoolwork compared to my work outside of school, I feel more proud of what I'm doing outside of school. And school, quite frankly, is a little bit of a means to an end at this point because, quite frankly, I think school sees me as a mean to an end.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
I mean, the people in the institution, the people who I work with and who I learn from don't see me as a means to an end. I at least hope I don't think they do.
No, but the institution itself, though,
in a general sense, I would say does. But again,
same with my job.
I don't know that, but I would say that's the way that I frame how I look at it, because then it sort of enables me to actually work on my own stuff in my own way, on the way that I want to do it. And that's, I guess, how I keep moving forward.
I think that's another interesting topic that I have had a hard time dealing with is I worked in retail for 6 years now, coming on 6 years. And I probably, I'm pretty sure that I'll probably pick up some odd jobs in the next few years just because why not? But that is a big thing I've had a problem dealing with because there's people around me that are so driven for very important, especially scientific career paths. And I'm just an artist, I'm just an artist. Or I know some people, one in particular, he'll know I'm talking about him, who doesn't work. They don't have a job and they're doing just fine. And they're like, man, I couldn't imagine working in retail for that long. And I'm like, yeah, well, and I had this problem in my brain of, man, like I got to get out of here. Or what am I doing with my life? Well, sure, I'm an artist, but I'm doing this like in my spare time. That's terrible. I've realized in the last year that it's another difficulty to go through is, am I willing to be doing this job in order to sustain my dreams.
Why don't we take on that after we take another break?
Another quick break?
Let's
Sounds
take
good to
another
me.
quick break.
All right.
Go.
Frank Zappa. Goose go. Okay, I'm done. What?
Are you going to say welcome back or am I?
Oh, should we rock, paper, scissors. I'll shoot.
Okay. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
We're going to censor that?
This is part of the
Just gave me the bird.
This is going to be the outtake. So you're starting at, we're going to start at 40.
The bird.
We're going to start at 50. This is an
Wait,
amazing,
we didn't start? This
is
is the start.
We're going to start in two,
Mission
one,
begins in
go.
10 seconds. Oh, welcome back to Corona Perch and the Existential Cowboy and the Ever-Growing Void that will never break Hocus on Eternal Dread, Phase 1. I'm Liam. This is Eric. Let's get to it.
Why do we do that after every single break?
I kind of like it.
We've never done it before.
Welcome back to Corona Perch and the Existential Cowboy.
If you say it like that, I will totally go for it.
Ever-Growing
Anyways,
Void.
topic.
You are right. But that's the thing. We only know what we know, and if we don't know, that's okay. But that's another big topic is when people get really angry over not being able to know. But not everyone knows, and that's okay. And that's what this episode's about: is that we don't know, but that doesn't mean we're not willing to learn either.
And at the same time, it's also accepting that some people are not willing to learn.
Sure.
And there might be an unwillingness to learn because of some sort of mental blockage or some sort of event that makes it difficult for them to make the choice to learn. I don't believe that there's inherently anybody evil. I feel like that just people align themselves with what they want to align themselves with, and I guess I can only hope that they put it to good use.
Mm-hmm. What you speak of, the fact that not everyone is going to be with you, that is an interesting one that I think a lot of people need to learn. Because I was having this conversation with someone the other day. I'm a big person who I like validation, and not because I'm not confident in myself. I am. I just don't. People don't validate often. I don't think, and it's nice to hear that you do something good for someone. It helps boost your confidence and your abilities, and it gives you a smile. But not everyone, like you said, is going to be on your side, and not everyone is going to be willing to learn. And that's where the power of the person is important, because if you're so determined on getting the power of the group, when even that group you're looking at may be thinking the exact same thing, that, oh man, there's no one like me, and there's no one listening. And it's like, okay, well, but if you put forth the effort, other people will also put forth the effort. And it's just, you want to say something?
So here's my theory.
Yeah.
When you put your all towards yourself and towards a specific thing, and people start to take notice of what you're doing, then they will become interested.
Yes, that's what we are doing right now.
That's exactly what we're
we
doing.
did. We did that with the anthology, and I think that's so cool that we built this chain reaction of excitement.
And I think this is something that I propose even for just other people trying to make their way in the world with other things, is that put yourself on the line and actively try to do the things that are difficult in all sorts of different social categories on what people work on, whether it's psychology, sociology.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a niche study that you really want to do and that you think it's important, but other people say, no, that's not important, that's already been done. But it's like, no, because this is different because of this and this and this.
This shouldn't stop you.
Then prove them wrong.
Yep.
Because when you do so and you believe in yourself and what you think is important, not only do you gain confidence in yourself, but you also gain, you get pride of yourself for being able to push yourself through that despite everybody not validating you with it. But then people can also see that it's like, wow, they put a lot of work and soul and research and study and thought and all of this, even if it's not the most perfect thing, your best is always enough. your best is always enough. And that is something that I need to tell myself really at times, that my best is enough. And I feel like sometimes there's obstacles and reasons why people don't do their best, but they say that they're doing their best. But in the end, but deep down, they know they could be doing more. But doing more scares them.
I want to give a quick example, and I've said this before, and I'm proud of it. I'm going through this problem right now because when I first started making comic books, I got that face. It was, oh, you're not going to school? You're not doing this?
Yep.
You're making comic books? And it's like, yeah. And I had so much doubt from how many people made that face, and they gave me that, oh, that's what you're doing? I made my 5th book, and I'm just about to finish my 6th, so I hope you're excited. But I'm going through the same. That's not a problem now. People look at me and they go, "Oh, he can make books. He's done it now." And they but before, that same person didn't believe in me, and I didn't care.
And that's your firsthand experience of it.
That's my first. Yeah. And there's your example. But I'm doing it again because I just told someone the other day. They're like, "Oh, what are you doing now that you're done? Whatever." I'm like, "Oh, I'm making an album. I'm writing music." I got that same face. Like music? I'm like, yeah. And they're like, how are you going to do that?
An album like music?
No, you know how many people said like music when I say I'm making an album? Like music?
No, I'm making a salad.
Dude, I'm making a scrapbook. This is I'm making a scrapbook of all my stuff I've done. But seriously, keep getting that friggin' face, and I'm like, guys, I can't wait to prove you wrong. But it's scary, and I know a lot of you probably have done something, and then someone goes, oh, you're doing that, and then you're like, shoot, I'm going to stop now.
And I think the clarification here as well is that proving somebody wrong, I feel like that's so easily interpreted as being vengeant.
Sure.
That and I think that's a very common view in the Western tradition, that it's them or me. Yeah. Only I can win or they can win.
Sure.
There has to be a winner and a loser. There can't be numerous winners.
Yeah.
And in this case, proving somebody wrong is a case of having multiple winners. That
it's beautiful. I've done it. Now join me.
Yeah.
I showed you we can do it. Come help me. Let's do it together.
Come help me with this. Do what you want to do. Like it's like, wow, I want to make an album too. It's like, great. You want to make some music? Let's do it.
Yeah. And if you're scared about it, well, I just proved that it can be done. It's not me going, haha, I beat you. It's, hey, I did it. I'm sorry that you felt this way before, but now you see it can be done. Let's do it together.
It can be done. If you feel passionately enough about it, let's do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's happened with books. And that's what actually my printer and I have been talking about lately, is the confidence that you can give people when you've proven you can do it.
Yeah.
I think we're pretty much good for this episode. I like this meta episode that we've been doing.
I think it feels a lot more. I think we got to do more meta episodes of just talking about what's on our minds rather than having an idea or topic in mind.
I think we had a good start to this season of our podcast to build up on things, but now we can kind of get more.
We did a lot of learning over our past episodes, and we'd like to thank you both. Or both of us would like to thank you.
Yeah. The 2 viewers.
We have 2 viewers.
Our 2 viewers, thank you. No, seriously, we do want to thank you for being able to stick around and watch and help us learn.
Watch us grow, because really, for us, we don't care about the views. We care about improving ourselves and having good conversation. And I've got a feeling that once episode 20 rolls around, like, people will take notice and people will enjoy and listen. And
it's not the numbers. It's here to help you guys and help us.
We're helping ourselves with this, really.
Seriously.
Honestly, we're doing this for ourselves. I'm actually realizing things about myself that I didn't actually figure out before.
That's cool. And we're learning. That's a human.
I'm doing like self-therapy here. It's kind of nice.
Dude, we're people. We are people, and so are you. And, we may seem like we have answers, but we don't. And that's what this episode was about. We even learned stuff today.
Yeah.
So
again, thank you for listening. Let us know in the comments below if you agree or disagree with us. And
yeah, give us thoughts. We love reading comments and being able to have an episode about it.
Whether you're angry with us, disappointed with us, happy with us, all of the
are
things.
Us.
Wow, Eric, your hair looks nice and smooth and clean.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. We're off the perch.
We're off the perch.